I Love Boosters is director and screenwriter Boots Riley's follow-up film to 2018's Sorry to Bother You. I Love Boosters follows, a group of boosters that Riley himself describes as people who steal expensive clothing to sell them at a marked-down price. This group features Corvette, played by Keke Palmer, who is the lead character of the film, with Sade and Mariah, played by Naomi Ackie and Taylor Page, right there alongside her. As the movie progresses, this boosting becomes an outlet for more radical defiance against big corporations and systemic injustice. This is a completely bonkers movie where you really have no idea how it's going to progress. It feels like Boots Riley just throws everything at the wall to see what will stick. But somehow here, everything does. You can tell that he's such a confident filmmaker and fully believes in his artistic vision. And you can see that this is spread to the cast, too. Everyone is fully bought in to Riley's vision, and it makes for a ton of great performances. He also ignores a lot of the rules and conventions of filmmaking, and in doing so, he creates something completely and wholly unique. And like the movie doesn't follow the conventions of filmmaking, its characters don't follow the socially constructed rules of fashion either. The costuming is colorful and flamboyant, the kind of thing that would make you stand out in a crowd, and maybe even get some weird looks. But this is the norm for the characters in this movie, and a lot of the locations they go to as well. The sets of the movie embodies these qualities too. The costume and set design also works to develop the world that this movie takes place in, and the film's antagonist, Christy Smith, played by Demi Moore, who is the billionaire owner of the company that Corvette and her friends steal clothes from. She believes that all these super colorful clothes that she sells can directly influence someone's perception of reality. For anyone that is familiar with Boots Riley and his previous work, it should come as no surprise that this movie is very political. Not only does it use its narrative as a vehicle to explore political ideas and challenge the audience, its politics directly inform, shape, and construct the narrative. There's a specific political concept explained about halfway through the movie, which is then directly, materially applied to the rest of the film, which is probably the most obvious example of the film's politics shaping its narrative. I think compared to Sorry to Bother You, this movie's politics are maybe not quite as on the nose, at least for a very general audience. But I mean, considering how explicitly anti-capitalist Sorry to Bother You is, this movie is still far, far more overtly political than even most political movies are. But I don't want to get into all the ways that it explores this, as I would then be getting too far into spoilers. And like Sorry to Bother You, you definitely want to go into this as blind as you can. The movie just sort of goes all over the place, and I mean that in a very good way. Even what I've said here regarding the plot is kind of just the surface, because there's so much more going on throughout. This is also a film very much built off of contradiction, which again ties into one of the concepts explored later in the movie, which should make this pretty obvious. The conflict of this movie rides off of one central contradiction, that the boosters only exist because they are not paid fairly, because the clothes that they steal are sold at prices way above the value of the materials and labor that went into creating them. And yet we see that this is necessary for Christy Smith's profits. More broadly, this contradiction is also all too present in our own world. The rich and powerful can only remain rich and powerful through the exploitation and manipulation of those that are beneath them. And this contradiction is what causes the main characters to rebel as the conflict between them and Christy reaches a breaking point. I was also pretty confused as to what was going on with Lakeith Stanfield's character, as he is one of the biggest sources of the more surrealist and absurdist elements present here. I was actually worried that I would walk away from this movie not really having any concrete idea as to what his point was, but I did reach a conclusion about what he represents because of one scene at the end of the movie. This conclusion that I reached, for me, recontextualizes everything else involving him previously, and ties back into the intensely political nature of this film in a way that made me appreciate it on a deeper level. I don't want to detail my thoughts any more than this, as I do think his character is very much open to interpretation, and I think that anybody that goes to see this movie should be able to create their own interpretation. And also, because of this recontextualization and because of a plot twist that happens towards the end of the movie, I Love Boosters is definitely something that would feel even more rewarding on a second watch. This is already such a dense movie, and if you combine that with things that you wouldn't really be able to catch the first time around, it almost demands a second viewing. This might even be something that I come back to make another video about at some point, really delving into how the film explores politics and uses political concepts to tell its story. There's so much that I want to say about it, but again, I can't really if I want to keep this a spoiler-free review. I really cannot recommend I Love Boosters enough. It's a shame that it hasn't been very successful at the box office, as this is really the kind of movie that anybody who is passionate about cinema should be rushing to support. Coming out this weekend alongside The Mandalorian and Grogu and Passenger, the dichotomy between safe corporate filmmaking with no aspirations but to turn a profit, and movies like I Love Boosters is so obvious. It's exploding at the seams with so much creativity and energy and originality, with so much substance packed into everything, that it feels like you could write an individual essay for every 5 minutes that goes by. And on top of that, it explores radical political ideas that you will very rarely, if ever, see explored in big blockbuster filmmaking. Quite honestly, I Love Boosters puts those other films to complete shame. It challenges the idea that filmmaking has to follow rules and conventions, that entertainment, even though this film is very entertaining, should come above all else, that creativity should be limited for the sake of appealing to a wider audience. Not everyone is going to enjoy what your unique vision looks like. This movie is certainly going to be too weird for some people, but I mean, some are gonna love it too. And for me, I definitely did. For me, I Love Boosters is a 4.5 out of 5. If you'd like more film reviews like this one, I would love for you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, but any amount of support is appreciated. Thanks so much for watching The Final Take, and have a good day.